right, everyone, welcome to our Brodown episode of Most Hours Played. These are games where the brothers have played the most hours. And in this category, SMITE, Super Smash Bros., and Madden go up against each other. I'm Anthony, and along with my two brothers, Pete and Tom, this is Brothers and Boss Battles, a video game showdown. Here is how the show works. Each of us picks a game that fits within a genre or category, and for the first 3 episodes of that grouping, we will discuss those games in detail, talking about story, gameplay, effect on the gaming world, and more. The 4th episode in each grouping is our Brodown episode, where we will have a courtroom-style debate, each of us defending the game we chose while attacking the other two and ultimately declaring a winner. In this Brodown episode, we will have that courtroom-style debate and defend the game that we chose for this genre or category. Based on the arguments made throughout the episode, we will rank the games individually to come up with a consensus and declare a winner. If you'd like to hear our unbiased opinions, go back to the regular episodes in this grouping and give a listen. But for now, these 3 games are up against each other, and we are each one of their lawyers. All right. This is our most hours played category, and we're each going to defend one of these games that we previously spoke about the last 3 weeks. I will be defending Super Smash Bros. And the whole Super Smash Bros. Series. Guys, who are you representing?
I will be defending SMITE.
And that leaves me to defend my favorite game of all time, Madden.
This one's pretty good because I feel like we would each maybe pick these games. As our favorite in the grouping, but let's go. I mean, I'm gonna start. I think the reason Super Smash Bros. Is the best out of these 3 games is because of its accessibility compared to the other 2. And we've talked about it in the episode that Super Smash Bros. Can be played by all, whether you're just casually having fun with friends at a party and have never picked up the game before, or whether you're an esports competitor. That is certainly not the case with games like SMITE and Madden, where they require a certain level of skill and practice that sort of prohibits them from just being picked up and played. And, for that initial reason, I think Super Smash Bros. Really takes the cake out of these 3.
I'm going to come in with a counter argument here. So this is something that I brought up in our Super Smash Bros. Episode. But so for me, playing against my friends who were not as good as I was at the game, like, yes, anyone could pick it up, but it was just like, it was a bloodbath playing those games against them where, like, I was expected to and pretty much did win every match. So, like, still people had to be on the same playing field, I think, to really make the most out of the game.
I'd also like to step in here for a couple of things. So the first is we're talking about most hours played category, not most people playing the game. So I think for certain categories, accessibility might be in the game's favor, but for the most hours played, there really has to be a ton of depth and, complexity to a game for it to rank the highest in the most hours played category. So I'm not sure accessibility is a good thing, actually. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, and I think we're going to see this a lot in the next hour or 2, Madden is really the golden mean here in this category. So in terms of accessibility, Madden is
inaccessible.
No, it is accessible to some extent, right? Even when we were growing up, we weren't really big football fans, and we kind of learned football through the game, and we played it and were pretty good at it and loved it. So I don't know who the game is inaccessible for. That's number one. But number two, there is, like I mentioned, depth to it, and you have to put some amount of time in to get really good at the game. And then just on the complete opposite spectrum is SMITE, where you just have to log hundreds of hours, and in an ever-changing meta, it's a little too much to be the winner here.
Yeah, but Smite has other modes like Arena where you don't have to really be super invested into the game. You could kind of build what you want. You can do auto build if you want, and auto ability level up. So you know.
Yeah, but how fun is the game with that? I don't know.
You're not getting to most hours playing a casual Arena.
No, I don't know. I think there are people who have thousands of hours playing only Arena and Assault.
No, well, of course we could find these people.
Check out the Smite Game Twitch channel for that.
Yeah, there are always people that'll play 1,000 hours in anything, but you know,
I don't know. I mean, you guys make points, but I don't know. I just feel like that Super Smash Brothers accessibility is because you can get to the level where you're facing superstars at the game, and to do that, you have to be just as you're learning in-depth moves like moves where you're fighting essentially off the stage and like those ground pound sort of attacks that knock people down and all of that. The rocket punch and
Spikes.
all the spikes. So I think, yeah, again, I mean, nothing's ever completely balanced. And if you're a really good player facing casual players, it's going to be, as Tom said, a bloodbath. But for the most part, I think people are going to sort out in a way where they're, playing people of their own skill, and they'd still be able to pick up the game. If you like blindly give Madden or Smite to like a person that maybe doesn't play video games, like knows what a controller is, but hasn't played video games, like I think they would be totally lost.
In Smite, they would be totally lost. I'm not so sure that they would be totally lost on that, because Madden, when you boil Madden down, even Madden 25, when you boil it down, it is Madden 95. You press X to hike, and now you have a few receivers going out with different buttons over their head, and you have to press one of those buttons to throw it to them. Or a running play is a running play. So I don't agree at all that someone in that situation would be lost playing Madden for the first time.
And I guess you do have different difficulties on Madden, as far as I know, in Super Smash Brothers. Whereas Smite, you really don't. You really have to play a completely different round.
Yeah.
They have AI matches to get you up to speed with the game before you feel confident enough to play against real people.
Yeah, but those are
the old tutorial.
Not just a tutorial. You can do bot matches.
Yeah, bot matches, but the difficulty leap from bot to player versus player is incredible. Like, as someone
not
just starting,
facing you.
as someone just starting, I could do a bot match and go like 6-1 or something, 6-0, and then I go into a match and I'm,
well, maybe
10.
Maybe you didn't play enough bot matches to really get a feel for the game.
I don't know. Yeah. If you're going 6-1 in a bot match, I feel you're gonna get destroyed when you face a human.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly my point.
You're supposed to go. You're supposed to go like 20-0 in the bot matches.
Yeah. and so once you get to 20-0 in the bot matches, then you play a player versus player match.
No, they have different levels for the bots, because you guys are just basing it on like the one from the tutorial where like they don't even attack you, basically. They have easy, medium, and hard levels for the bots. So you work your way up to that, and when you feel confident against the hard bots, then you can go into the easy players.
Okay, a little training.
All right, I think the Brodown court is gonna want us to move on from this point and have us address our next points.
I got one.
Yeah.
I think that Smite has the best cast of characters in any of the games.
See, this was going to be another point I brought up for why Super Smash Brothers was the best. And
Super Smash Brothers, the one that has 10 different clones of Marth and unknown Fire Emblem characters, that game?
Even with that, and those clones came about when the rosters were growing, and it was already a good roster at the beginning, I feel, and even with those clones started growing to great levels, including third-party IP to just not be Nintendo, but to just have those characters not only in the same game against each other, but or not in the same game with each other, but fighting against each other with their levels and game specific items. I just thought was, I don't know. I don't think you get any better than that. I mean, I'll concede mythological gods are cool, athletes are cool, but I don't think as
then
far as
Smite also added stuff like Cthulhu,
okay,
and then you can't forget about like King Arthur and his whole
Band of Merry Men.
band of merrymen. Yeah. Yeah, and then also, I know you guys will scoff, but the crossover IP that they did for the different skins adds a lot to the game for a lot of people. So you're bringing in things like Nickelodeon characters and Stranger Things characters and Ninja Turtles, and so I mean that kind of even bolsters the cast to an extent.
Well, okay. We're wrong here again because Smite has 100 or so characters. Super Smash Brothers had what, 70 or something, or 50 or
By
whatever
the time
was.
it got to Ultimate.
Yeah.
And Madden has the whole
Madden has,
NFL
what,
Players Association.
2,000 characters, and 10 years from now, it's going to have
Yeah,
basically
but they're
2,000
all
completely different characters.
They're all indecipherable from one another. They're just random humans.
That's not true.
Who are big.
They're not indecipherable at all. When you had Mike Vick, you knew it was Mike Vick.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, but a
when you
football
had-
player is a football player.
yeah,
Yeah, but well, first of all, I've played Mario in literally 25 different video games. Now I have a 26 video game to play him. Wow. I'm so happy to be playing Mario again.
Yeah, but
how many games did you play as Cthulhu?
Oh, anyone play
None,
Call of
but
Cthulhu?
I've seen these gods in books and movies and all these other fictional things.
Yeah, and they've been
You know.
really interesting, and now you get to see them in a whole new context, which makes them even more interesting. And you see how their lore is brought into their kits. Kits meaning their movesets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk to
I
me
don't
when
know.
they have 2,000 gods.
Oh,
That's
But
never gonna happen.
while I do respect the different pantheons and in Smite and the athletes, I don't know. I just, to have Mario face Mega Man, face Sonic, face Snake from the Metal Gear Solid series, I just think it's such a dream for gamers to be able to do that and to have their whole specific move sets. It's so cool. I don't know. It's so cool. You have Snake, with his little mortar rocket, or I don't know, just so many different things.
So why wasn't it a dream for gamers when they had the knockoff fighting games like the one on Sony All Stars or whatever, like Kratos versus Crash Bandicoot? Why wasn't that cool?
I don't know. I think that goes with just the whole gameplay, which we'll get to. But those games had cool characters. I'm not going to say that, but that's why Super Smash Brothers has been so successful, because it has all of that plus a whole lot of other good features that makes it a good game. Yeah, there's been a ton of knockoffs of Super Smash Brothers, the Nickelodeon All Stars and
Multiverses.
Multiversus, and I don't know, wasn't there a Ninja Turtles game that someone infamously said was just like Super Smash Brothers, and all of their other brothers relied on that information to get the game? And
for GameCube, right?
Yeah,
what a moron.
Yeah, well, okay, I just wanted to defend.
And we're looking at you, Tom. But
I wanted to defend.
but anyway,
for
I just think that comparison is another feather in the cap of Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, just because a game failed, like PlayStation All Stars, that doesn't mean it's because people weren't excited to play the characters. There could have been a lot of other flaws that caused it to fail. But you know what people really get excited about? Playing their favorite superstar athlete in a video game form. And when the athlete, hurdles over a defender and carries two more defenders into the end zone in real life, and then they get to do that in the video game as that player. I mean, that is a dream come true for kids. No kid dreams about, oh, I hope one day I could play Athena in a video game.
It's not true. They could be a kid who's really into
Yeah, okay, so
mythology.
your defense in every argument is going to be, no, there's probably one person here, one
No,
person
not
here.
one person. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, but not as
That,
many.
that's
Not
a
as
that's
many
a
as
that's a
not as
big
many as
draw for a lot
not
of
as
people
many.
that play Smite. Is that it's a really cool concept, and they get to play as cool characters. Not not you know John Smith, who looks exactly like John Doe, who's another football player who plays offensive line on the Cowboys.
Look, I mean, I can't. I'm defending my game, and I still think I'm right. But I will say the mythological gods, that is a cool thing, and it's what makes Smite better than other online, um, like
Yeah, battle
arena
games. Yeah.
based battle games. So I'll give Tom that point. I still just I don't think it exceeds what Super Smash Brothers gets you.
Okay. Shall we move on?
Next point, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll initiate one this time. So I mentioned at the beginning about the importance of depth in a game because of the category being the most hours played. So we're not looking for like a fun little party game. And this is kind of here where I was talking earlier about the golden mean, Madden being in the middle of these two games. So let me talk about my game first. Again, you could jump in, you could play an exhibition, right? But then you could also do a franchise where you're, you know, owning a team and managing the economics of the team, as well as the strategies. Are you run heavy, pass heavy? Right. So that's all adding to the depth. And then there's the different team building, the training camp, mini camp options, all these different sort of game modes that you could do, or all these different things that could enhance the depth of the game. And that's before we even get into playing the actual football game, right? And there you could sub in different players for different game situations. And again, we talked in the episode about playbooks and making your own plays, or at least choosing a playbook and getting comfortable with it. And then on defense, counterbalancing what the offense is doing. And all that there is maybe vague, but it's speaking to the depth of the game. So not just the in-football game, all the nuance to that, but also the different game modes around it that you could play.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I feel like you're just describing like a sport. Like you're just like, I mean, you could just watch the sport and get all of the analysis that how much you could, like we just had the big game wasn't too long ago here, and you could watch it as someone who like mainly wants to see commercials, or you could watch it as someone who's been analyzing every play that the teams might do leading up to it, and watch the game to see what plays are done, and then the day after listen to that. Like I feel like you don't need the game for that, but you need a game to be able to have Mario face Link in a battle. And as far as
well, that's true, I'll give you that.
But like just as far as the depth is concerned, like yeah, I mean, yeah, football can be complicated, and that gives depth. But like, there's different game modes in Super Smash Brothers. You could play solo, you could play against people, you could play stock, you could play time, you could play coin, even though no one ever plays coin. And like, there's all these different ways to play. You could play with one stock, you could play with 10 stock. There's a lot of different features you can do. You could play. We talked about it in the episode. You could play with items, without items, with a customizable sort of item frequency and all of that. So I don't know. I think that really shows the depth of the game. And I would like to make a point. I know Tom, I'm sure, wants to make a point on this too, but just I think this kind of goes with the depth. We're talking about depth and most hours played. I felt like you were going to say how like, well, Smite game matches take forever, and Super Smash Brothers matches are really short, but Madden's right in the middle there, and it's like a good amount of time. I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't, but I feel like some people would and denigrate Super Smash Brothers for maybe having the shortest matches. But I actually think that's a good thing because you could just play more of them. And some matches are short, some matches are long, depending on the levels, and that's gonna play a part in it too. But I just think that the shorter the matches, the more options you're gonna have to play different amounts of time. And if you have a half hour, you could play Super Smash Brothers. You probably can't play a Smite match or a Madden match if you just have a half hour.
You could certainly play a match of Arena if you have a half hour.
Would come back.
Yeah. Which speaks to the depth of the game because it has so many different modes that you can choose from depending on what your mood is or what your time allotment is. And, just to speak more on the depth of the game, Smite 1, over 100 characters to choose from and learn. Many items that you can build. You can really, if you put your mind to it, you can really go like super in depth to learn the game and get really good at it. I know you guys don't see this as a point for the game because you guys didn't do this.
Yeah, no. Oh.
but I certainly did. So
you got your degree in smitology.
Yeah, I was working on it. Yeah.
The problem with that is that it's ever changing, and there's nerfs and buffs constantly, and it just
they were on a schedule. Yeah, so there was a bonus balance every 2 weeks, and then there was a major patch every month.
Yeah, so every 2 weeks things are changing. That's too cumbersome.
It's not too cumbersome. It keeps the game fresh and adds to the depth of the game. Because you can't just if everything stood the same, you would just when Smite premiered 10, 11 years ago, whatever it was, you just build the same items and then that's it. You're playing with those same items because those are the best ones, so you're playing with those for the next 10 years.
No, you make minor adjustments every year like Madden does.
To make it worse.
It's like, oh, he got a year older, so his speed went down by 1.
Yes, exactly. That's the perfect amount of depth. Not every 2 weeks. Although I'm sure now they do roster updates
regularly. Yeah,
regularly.
Yeah, it's not Madden 95. Now they shoot their silver bullet patch, and it's changed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's a certain amount of depth that is good and tolerable, and Super Smash Brothers had it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're talking more about customization than really different game. Whether you play 5 stock or 10 stock, or even 5 stock or 5 minutes is really customization. Items, no items. But okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the way you may play and what characters you might use might be different for those kind of things. I mean, full disclosure, we kind of almost always played stock no matter what we did. So it was like we just got used to that. But I'm sure there's some differences in the gameplay you're going to use and the characters you might use if you play different modes.
Okay, I'm done with this category.
Oh, all right. What else do we need to hash out?
You guys have anything else? Because I have other topics.
You can shoot one out.
Okay. Touched on this a little bit, but I'm going to call this one the franchise. Right? In Super Smash Brothers, I will. In Super Smash Brothers, we had made up rules and spreadsheets and paper and pencil, and we had to fabricate that in order to get the most hours played out of that game. Smite, there really is nothing. I mean,
doesn't need any of that.
You can look at your stats and you have a little ranking, I guess, that could go up or down, but no one really cares too much about that. In Madden, the franchise is there, right? And if we want to do a fantasy draft, we didn't need spreadsheets. If we want to do a fantasy draft in Smite where we all have our own characters, we're going to need spreadsheets. In Madden, we don't need spreadsheets. It's all there. The players' salaries are there, and how the players' stats go up and down, and their salaries go up and down, and all that. It's all in the game.
It's in the game.
But in Smite, people definitely do care about their ranks.
That's if you're playing ranked, right? And if you're playing casual, is that MMR part of casual or?
They have like
Right.
an ELO reading, but it's not something that's actually visible that you can see.
Exactly. It's not something that anybody cares about. So only the people that are playing ranked.
I mean, I don't think you need those spreadsheets though that we had to get to most hours played, even with Super Smash Brothers. I mean, that might have brought us up over the edge a little bit more, or up to whatever. I mean, as far as the most hours, but I still feel like we would have played a lot of this game regardless. I mean, just because it's there's so many characters, there's so many levels, so many beloved characters, so many characters you want to be and say, oh yeah, I kicked butt with.
We already deliberated the characters.
No, but I'm saying that's part of the. I don't know. You're saying you need these modes in order to get to most hours played, and I just don't think that that's the case.
I think if we didn't make that franchise in Smash Brothers, we would not have had nearly as many hours. We would have been playing WWF SmackDown more and Mario Baseball more and all these other games and Madden.
Ooh, little Easter eggs.
And Smite,
yeah.
you just have a match, you win or lose, and then you play another match, and you win or lose, and the third match.
And that's all. That's all you need.
Yeah, but the thing is, and I feel like this is a point in defense of Smite as well as Super Smash Brothers, but I'll make it anyway. And it's the characters do play into it as well because you're learning so many other different characters. So like that is adding to the franchise aspect of it, or at least in the sense where you're, I've been great with Mario and Super Smash Brothers. I know every move, I know every tendency, I know every counter, whatever it is. Now I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna play Samus. I'm gonna play like these other characters. Try to challenge myself. Maybe it doesn't fit within my game style. But I feel like that. And to an extent, Smite, you're kind of learning all of these characters, and that's in Madden. Fine, you have a couple different playbooks and things like that, but the characters all play the same essentially. The quarterback is doing the same thing every time. The linemen are doing the same thing every time.
Yeah, but some linemen are better at defending the pass, some are better at defending the run. Strong at tackling, strong at coverage, speed, size. The characters are different.
Yeah, but you're gonna play your team regardless. I mean, and you're gonna have a team.
Yeah, but you gotta build and manage your team within the salary cap because the franchise is there. It's not just like I'm dominating with Peyton Manning. Let me move on to Tom Brady now. I don't know. Right? You have to. There's opportunity cost, and if you have Peyton Manning, maybe you can't get the good running back.
Yeah, so when you started bringing up the characters again, I was kind of like face palming, but you actually bring up a good point where, like, truly, like, you kind of get a sense of ownership over these characters, where it's like, like in Smite, I was the chalk guy or whatever, right? And it kind of creates like this, like I said, like ownership, like like where you're like a franchise owner in that in that regard. And it's like, this is my team, like these are the players on my team, like, Chalk, Achilles, Gilgamesh, whatever. So yeah, that's like an interesting way to kind of bring those franchise elements into these games that don't inherently have them.
Yeah.
Or need them.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like saying like, oh, well, I'm the best of this game's the best of football because you guys don't have football in your game. So it's, yeah, fine. But I mean, there's other elements that add to it.
Okay, let's just have one category. What game is the most fun? This is the most hours played. It needs the franchise.
Clearly it doesn't because we
Smash Brothers.
We've played these games without franchise modes. I mean,
Well, with Smash Brothers, we made our own.
fine, but
Yeah, these are the most hours played, but there's only one that could be the best.
all right. Let's take a quick break. We'll give you the answers to last week's mid-episode filler "Would you rather" question, where we asked, what is your favorite big game snack? All right, everyone. So we asked on the "Would you rather" question, what was your favorite big game snack? Buffalo wings, pizza, or nachos? And thank you for all that participated. We're going to give you hours. I'm going to go with nachos. Pizza's my favorite food, but I eat that on the regular, so I don't need the big game to tell me to eat a pizza. So I'm going to go with nachos. How about you guys?
My answer is gonna be the buffalo chicken wings. Chicken is a nice lean protein, so I would go with that.
And then fried in oil.
Well, I mean, the pizza and the nachos, well, too much, too cheesy, too much of the empty carbs. So I went with the wings.
Too delicious.
Yes.
The big game is all about eating unhealthy. But yeah, so I feel that nachos are not a shareable food, and I'm gonna die on that hill. It's like they're all together, and you end up, like it's just impossible to get all the toppings on the chip. It's not meant to be shared. People don't know that. And then pizza I eat pretty much every week too. So so that left me with the buffalo wings, which is it's also kind of messy too, depending on if the kind you get, but it's more of a personal mess than a collective mess.
All right, thank you for everyone that participated. Check us out on our social media at Bros Boss Battles on X and Instagram. That's BROS Boss Battles. Check out our website, brothersandbossbattles.com. We are sometimes on Switch at Bros Boss Battles.
That would be Twitch.
Did I say Switch? YouTube at Bros Boss Battles. And check us out wherever you get this podcast. All right, back to the show. All right. Anyone have any more categories we could debate on these three games in the most hours played category?
I have a good one that I wanted to bring up. So I think that SMITE has the best value out of any of these games. So going with the obvious, it's the only game out of the three that is free to play. And, up until very recently, there was only one SMITE. You didn't have to buy a new version of the game every year or ever, really. The game gets constant updates and support from its dev team. And it's been, constant throughout consoles. So when the PS5 came out, you didn't have to buy a new SMITE. You were able to play the same SMITE that you were playing on your PS4. Same thing for Xbox, obviously. So I think that. Oh, and also with SMITE being a free-to-play game, you could. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are cheapskates like you two guys that didn't end up spending a single penny on the game. In theory, you can get 10 plus years out of the game without having to spend any money at all. And that's great value.
Yeah, see, I kind of like where Super Smash Brothers is coming from with the whole middle ground thing, where it's not an every year purchase like with Madden, but there is some value in the updates that are created whenever the new games do come out, or new levels and characters, and some are faster, some are slower. as far as the games overall, not just the characters. So I'm willing to shell out. I mean, even though Nintendo games never go on sale, or if they do, it's like a $5 reduction. But I'm willing to shell out the money every X couple of years. X couple, sometimes even more than that, to get the new version of it. Again, it's not a Madden with minimal updates year over year where you have to shell out the $60 because you don't want to wait till it goes on sale. And I just think it gives a little bit more than Smite offers.
Then are you also willing to shell out the money for the extra character DLC characters, packs 1 and 2?
Yeah.
With Smite, they add new gods a new god. And I think they were doing it most recently like every 2 months. Never have to spend a penny on new gods. You just get to play them as soon as they're released.
Well, that's not true. I mean, in Smite 1, I never was able to collect enough of the in-game currency to buy all the gods. You really have to play for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, or
Well,
spend the money.
That's because there are so many
Okay.
characters in the game. And
2,000 characters.
not quite that many.
Yeah, but okay. So I mean, if you're going to make the argument that Smite is the cheapest game, then definitely. I mean, it's free to play. But part of the reason why is because it's bare bones. And Smash Brothers is similar in that there's not really a lot of game modes, and the game modes are kind of the same. And you just kind of play a match, and then you either win or lose, and then you play another match. There's no progression of the characters or anything like that, And
There is though. Your mastery level.
Yeah, but the characters don't change. You maybe get a skin or a badge to put on, like your avatar or something.
Yeah, and that's cool. It's worth it.
So great value.
It's worth grinding for.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't see with Madden. There's just so much that into it, just from a whole team of athletes to mimic real life movements, and and then I talked about all the game modes and everything again. So it's like, yeah, you're paying premium dollar for a premium game.
Yeah, and you get to sit there and listen to Brian Kelly talk about fake teams and give like these, couple of lines stats that are generic and
no, I don't
repeated every year.
I don't think they're so generic, but I don't play Madden for the commentators.
Well, yeah, but that's the depth that they're adding.
Well, better than pretty much no commentary from the other two teams you guys are defending.
But that brings us to another category of sound and music that might be fun to bring up.
Indeed.
I mean, I think Super Smash Brothers, I really would just have to, like, in all honesty, give the nod to it. I mean, you have music from every iconic Nintendo game and some less iconic Nintendo games in all of their levels. And I just think that's, the quality is good. I'm not even going into, like, the quality, but just the abundance of it and even little like sounds here and there, all from the games. It's just a master class in sound, creativity and just inclusion of different sounds. So I mean, I just really think it's great. I mean, Madden has soundtrack, but again, it's just sort of pulling from pop music. It's not really part of its own creation. Like these games are Nintendo property for the most part. And Smite, I mean, it's got cool like chants and sounds and things like that. But I don't know. I don't think it overcomes what is available in Super Smash Brothers.
But you're forgetting about the music themes that were included in Smite. They had some really good ones across different genres. They had the synthwave one, which was really awesome. The lo-fi beats. They had some like metal style ones, like hard rock, and some that were like just like Japanese anime style, and some like more cultural ones. So like you can really switch that up in your profile loadout, to fit whatever mood you were in. But
And
also,
wait, those play during the match though, right?
yeah, like when you
Yeah.
got a kill
Yeah,
or
yeah.
when you backed.
Yeah, and some of them are like too loud that you couldn't hear it, like the combat
Yeah.
going on. So
I
like,
do kind of remember that. Like
yeah,
some were like really in your face at the same levels as other ones, and it was just like, can't hear anyone on my headset.
Yeah. But anyway, but also, yeah, Smite's really. So I mean, like for every character and for every skin for every character, they hired professional voice actors to go through and like really bring these characters to life. And like so there was lines for like everything, like attack the Titan, attack the minions, and they had to get every single skin to have recordings for all those VGS commands. And then not to mention when they use an ability, they had two different lines for each ability, and like the jokes and the taunts and stuff like that. So I think Smite really had the most in-depth audio presence. And then you have like even like in the lobby and the God Select screens, like those were really catchy tunes that would play. I just I had to put it above the others, obviously, because I'm defending it. But I mean, Madden, a lot of those songs that they included in throughout the years were songs that you just wanted to disable in the menu anyway. So you had the same like three songs playing over and over again. And
That's a good point.
like the broadcaster dialogue got super repetitive, and like after playing two games, they would say the same things.
yeah, in 2002, yeah, Smite wasn't even born yet. I mean, I'm glad. So Anthony said master class. I'm glad he used the word class because if you wanted to take a class in like the evolution of popular music in America, you could literally just play the Madden soundtracks over the last 20 years or so. So that's number one. Number two, you're talking about professional voice actors. Madden has professional commentators that actually do NFL games and get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that. Now they're in the game, in the video game, doing exactly what they do in real life. I mean, that's incredible. And you can't.
It's in the game.
Exactly.
They're in the game.
Yeah. That's because if it's in the
Is E-
game,
is
it's in the
EA
game.
is EA paying you for this episode?
Only if I win.
And now we're going to take a quick commercial break, sponsored by EA Sports.
No, so I mean, again, the music is incredible, and this is no joke. Just earlier today, I had to put on, I had to put on Party Hard.
No, it's so fun. The last 2 days I've been listening to it.
Thank
Actually,
you. I rest my case.
No,
but even
funny.
like
The
Go
last
ahead.
2 days on the way home, I've put it on both
Yeah.
both days. Yeah.
It's a good song, man.
It's not, but it is.
I like it. I like the music and everything.
Yeah.
But I also have my own personal playlist I listen to on like my long drives and stuff, and the anthem by Good Charlotte is on there, which is on one of the Madden soundtracks. So it's just like, these are songs that I want to listen to when I'm in the car. I really like some of the music, like Kirby's theme song or whatever. I never really feel compelled to listen to it unless I'm playing a Kirby game or Super Smash Brothers, And Smite, I don't know, like, yeah, the voice actors are fine. Like, if you don't have the skins, you don't really hear a lot of that. And then those loadout songs you're talking about, like, I vaguely remember it. I couldn't hum 2 seconds of any one of those. So,
Yeah,
there's
well,
that.
I mean, you didn't probably have much just because you didn't like they were including the battle passes a lot, and you didn't really buy those. So
Yeah, because that deteriorates the value of Smite.
I have to break character for a second just to say that Tom I didn't think he was going to be able to defend this category much, but I think he did a good job with the loadout musics and stuff like that, and just like the different in-game musics that you could set. So kudos, but I still think and this isn't backing character. I still think Super Smash Brothers is better, but like he held his own, so I'll do that. All right, back, back.
Back in character.
All right. Any other
Yeah,
categories we should
I want
debate?
to say something because I'm glad you used the phrase master class because
Again? Are you this Groundhog Day?
no, because I do want to highlight the aspect of Madden that we all enjoyed, and that was learning the game of football. And it's really, I know football is not a calculus or something that you might use
Something fun like that.
Wait, calculus is something you might use in your life?
Okay, true. Well, on tests at some point maybe.
I guess it depends what your job is.
But football for me has turned into lifelong entertainment. Watching the game, playing fantasy football. I think I maybe made this point in the Madden episode, but that all stemmed from learning football and the players and the X's and O's through Madden, and I just think that's fantastic, and it's a great feather in Madden's cap.
That's a really interesting point you bring up, because I think you could say the same thing about SMITE and mythology. So, I'm speaking from personal experience, there are several books that I read after playing SMITE because I wanted to learn more about the characters and their lore. So I read the Iliad and I read the Gilgamesh book. I think it's just called Gilgamesh, or what's it called?
You read a few books,
and the Book of Norse Myths. I would have never read that stuff if it wasn't for playing SMITE. And then, I got interested in that stuff because of SMITE, and it made me want to learn more.
So you read a few books. Maybe that was 20 hours. I did that in one weekend watching football once.
That's not something you should be saying out loud.
And what I'll say on this category with Super Smash Brothers is I think it has the opportunity to get people into other video games of characters that you may not have ever wanted to pick up. And look, we're all here talking video games, and football's fun, mythology's cool, but this is a video game podcast, and I feel like if one video game could spur interest in other video games, then that's a pretty cool sort of moniker for that game to wear. And just personally, I feel like the inclusion of NES made me interested in Earthbound, not a game that any of us played when we were younger. There are others, so I'll give a pat on the back to Super Smash Brothers for that.
Not bad.
All right, anything else?
One more.
All right.
I just wanted to talk about how the game transcends the game when talking about Madden.
Because it's in the game?
Yes, exactly. It's in the game and out of the game now.
Above the game and below the game.
But Madden was really this is maybe not a scientific factual statement because you can't really have one, but esports really gained popularity by most accounts in the early 2000s, and then blew up maybe in the 2010s. But Madden, as we discussed, they would air in those tournaments on ESPN in the early 2000s before esports was really a big thing at all. And I do want to emphasize that it was ESPN. It wasn't and in the middle of the day. It wasn't at midnight on some second-rate channel. I mean, ESPN was huge back then, and Madden was there. And then also we just talked about how so many celebrities were in the game. I mean, even in the big game that just happened, Saquon Barkley said that winning the Super Bowl was even better than winning in Madden. So Madden really transcends the game into pop culture in so many ways, and I think that really says a lot about Madden and really makes it worthy of the most hours played champion.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say all three of these games, which I guess is part of why it's in this category potentially, but all of these games are sort of like esports games. And the Super Smash Brothers certainly has such a loyal fan base that especially when Melee came out and then they replaced it with Brawl and all of that turmoil that caused. I think it just shows the loyalty of the fan base and its credentials as a esports and tournament based video game. Again, I'll finish with how I started with talking about accessibility and how that we started talking about how anyone could pick it up, and now we're talking about esports, and this is a game that is heavily included in both. So I would just say that with regard to your comments about the esports stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic to bring up. I mean, Smite obviously pretty important esports scene that really brings a lot of people into the game. Smite obviously doesn't have the same player base that games like Madden and Super Smash Brothers do. But you watch these SPL, Smite Pro League events, and people get like super hyped up for it. The casters are going crazy, like screaming and stuff. And I mean, even outside of esports, Smite has done collaborations with other companies for like making gaming, Smite themed gaming chairs, and they have Smite comics and other merch like little figures and stuff. So for a game that's relatively small, comparative to other competitive games, it was able to really make a mark outside of being in the game, so like I think you got to give props to it for that.
All right, there's our debate. Let us know what you think on our social media, our website, brothersandbossbattles.com, at Bros Boss Battles on the various social media sites, X, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Guys, how do you want to end this? Are we saying who had the best argument? Are we breaking character now, or do we just want to leave it at that? Go back to the episodes for our comments and then let the fans decide?
I think the fans like having a brother's consensus answer.
Yeah. All right. So what do you think? Honestly, we're breaking character now. The debate's over. If you don't want our consensus answer, just stop it right here. Go on one of those social media sites and vote, or comment and tell us who you think should win. But yeah,
I mean, I could start. For me,
yeah,
my personal ranking is pretty easy and clear. It would be Madden first, of course, then Super Smash Brothers and Smite third. Just the cumbersome of Smite, and it bugs me as much as I enjoy the game, and that's why it's third for me.
Tom, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. So, yeah, I think thinking about it in a most hours played context, I think I would put Super Smash Brothers first, then Smite, and then Madden last. I think Super Smash Brothers just like so many, especially with Ultimate, so many characters to choose from. Like there's always room for improvement, to get better, and advanced techniques. There was so much stuff with like the dodging that we didn't even like really touch on too much. Mm-hmm. Like dodging in all directions, and so it's like for like true fighting game players, there's a whole world of depth there. And
so for me, just off the bat, Madden is third for me. I think I'd have to go with Super Smash Brothers first, though, and Smite second. So, this wound up shaping up to be Pete defended Madden. That's his favorite. I had Super Smash Brothers. That's what I would pick. Tom, I know pick Super Smash Brothers, but I know it's close for him. And he certainly
is. Yeah.
He's certainly the Smite person. So you really got our like unvarnished opinions on this. We didn't have to like defend something that we really didn't like. But that's mine. And we hope you enjoyed this this
So that
episode.
makes Smash Brothers the winner, right?
Yeah, Smash Brothers the winner and Smite second.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, Pete. Madden's a great game. I will, I'll never forget the time played with you guys. So, all right, there you have it. Our new Brodown format. We hope you liked it, and catch us with our next category in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but it will be revealed, the first game of that category, in our next episode. Catch us on Instagram at X at Bros Boss Battles. Catch us on Twitch or YouTube. Visit our website at brothersandbossbattles.com and drop us a message wherever you get this podcast. Thanks for listening. Until next time.